Hi, Toby Lapinski here at Black Hall Outfitters in Old Lyme, Connecticut. We got another installment of our Kayak Rigging video series. Now we were tricking out this Old Town Predator PDL. We got a bunch of stuff you've been seeing on these videos from our friends at Yak Attack. Today we've got Yak Lights, we've got Humminbird on here. Paul's going to now go through some of the considerations, things you need to think about and plan out when you want to add in a light. Now, one thing though, lighting is sort of dual purpose. Obviously it helps you see yourself a little bit better when you're fishing low light conditions, but almost even more important is it's going to help others see you. When you're in a kayak, you're low to the water, it's somewhat difficult to see you at times. So having the lights on here is a huge safety aspect to really take into consideration, and really one of the biggest influencing factors that I wanted to get my kayak rigged up with these lights. So explain some of this system for me, Paul.
All right, so the specific system we have here today is the FL wireless kit from our friends over at Yak Lights. This specific kit has 4 LED strips, so you're gonna have 2 in the front and you're gonna have 2 in the rear. And it also comes with a wireless controller, which we can show a little bit in more detail later. What that allows you to do is it means you're not going to have any toggle switches cluttering up your space. You're not going to have anything potentially getting broken off, anything like that. It means you're going to have a nice key fob mounted to your PFD, and you can, just like you're opening your garage door, unlocking your car, push a button, bada bing, bada boom, your lights are going to fire right up.
Awesome.
In addition to this, we're going to add on a little bit to this kit. We're also going to add on these little 1.75 inch strips. These are great for interior lighting. One of the big things with these is with the form factor, we found that we can fit them nice and neat inside the pockets.
Oh, yes.
Meaning you're not going to have the light blinding you. Because a lot of guys will try to mount them, in this area or something like that. But it means the light is constantly blinding you in the eyes, and that's no good.
No, that's not going to be helpful.
No, not at all. And the nice thing with this strip specifically, this is a white LED strip, which means you're going to get a lot of brightness, but again, without it being direct in your eyes, you're not going to lose your night vision. You're not going to be
so good working light when you're down in the hull, whether you're re-rigging or what have you. So excellent.
Absolutely. And as for the consideration of what lighting kit you want to look for, there's quite a few different things to consider. First off, how many strips you want. The most basic kits that I have will usually just have the 2 front strips, and that's it. A sort of normal kit, day to day, what I would normally install would be a 4 kit, 1 on each corner.
Yep.
And the benefit to that is you have a light in each corner, which means people can see each corner of your boat. Okay, every kayak's a different size, obviously. If a boat's flying by, they need to be able to think quickly and see you quickly. At least, hopefully, they're thinking.
Yep.
So by having 4 lights, now you can visualize how big the object is.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Excellent. It's always about the safety out there.
Bingo. Yeah, absolutely. And on a more advanced kit, you have something like the FL Troll kit, which has a spotlight as well. Great for if you're in a lake or a small pond or something, you really need to focus light in on one spot. And even in salt water too, to some extent. The next thing to consider would be colors.
Yep.
So, to be honest with you, a lot of this is preference. You have a red boat, maybe you want some red lights to go with it, maybe you want blue. The big things that I want to make note of that a lot of people don't know. You don't want to put the green and red at the front. A lot of people do that because they think, oh, cool, it's, I got my, but don't do that. What that means by marine code is you are a vessel under power. It means you no longer have the right of way. It's totally a safety hazard. Absolutely do not do that.
It's counterproductive to what we're trying to do here.
Absolutely counterproductive to what we're trying, how we're trying to increase the safety on this boat. So if you're going to do that, stick with one color. Either stick with green, and you could mix and match front and back, but don't do green and red on the port and starboard side. As for interior, again, it's very opinion. I'm personally privy to white as it gives you a lot of working light. However, the downside to that is it's a very bright light. It means in certain configurations you will lose night vision. Most will choose to use a red or like a light amber, somewhere in that ballpark. And that's going to allow you to have bright working light without it being so blinding you can't see, which is a very big part. And then the final thing to consider is obviously battery and how much you're looking to run this thing. If you're the kind of guy who you get called out one time at night, and you're like, ah, shoot, I need my lights, then you can use a smaller battery. 12 to 15 amp hours, probably fine. If you're someone who you're going to be tournament fishing and you're going to be out on this boat all day and into the night with lights on the whole time, you're probably going to want to, 20 and above.
Yeah.
And the math still applies, as we went over in our first video about choosing the right battery. The math still applies. If this unit draws 3 amps, something you can easily find out by contacting the manufacturer, then you need to factor in that that's going to be drawing 3 amps the entire time you're using it, in addition to whatever other accessories you're using.
In addition to our fish finder, which we've got and we've already rigged in, so excellent. Okay. Well, this is definitely more than I'd be able to do in my garage, so I'm really happy to be here with you guys at Black Hall.
Oh, of course.
So I'm excited to get some lighting on here so people can see me. One time I actually want to be seen is when I'm on the boat out there for sure. So let's jump into the rigging and see how this is done.
I'm stoked. Let's do it.
All right.
All right. So we're now into my favorite part of this program, the lighting. So we're going to be using a kit by Yak Lights here, these guys, and we're going to be doing 4 LED strips on the front of the kayak and 2 LED strips on the inside of the kayak. As previously mentioned in our opening segment. So we're going to be starting over here on this side of the kayak. And for the Predator, I like to use this spot right about here and this spot as sort of a rough reference. And you can see here, if we take our strip, and these are about 18 inches long, by the way. And we're going to line up this corner roughly with that edge, and you can see we're just about at the edge of this plate here, so it's a good reference spot. So for positioning the LED strip, what I like to do is I like to start, like I said, at this corner. I like to take my tape measure, and I just want to measure right here, and I want to measure down and find the halfway point. So eyeballing it here, we got about 1.25 inches. So we're going to be looking at about 3/4 of an inch as being the center. Right about there. And so I just have one little black dot. And then I'm going to just line up the front of the LED strip. And you want to use the front of the LED strip, not the front of where the screw goes, because this can vary in length a little bit. So you want to make sure that you're using this as your reference point. So if we roughly line that up, I can see that my strip is going to end up somewhere in this sort of vicinity. So I'm going to make a little mark, just so I roughly know where I'm looking. And I'm once again going to measure down, and I can see here that I have, it looks like about 2 1/4. So I'm going to find the halfway point. Right about there. And that's going to give me my 2 points. And so now I know where my strip's going to go. And I'm just going to take a second here to stand back, make sure that those are looking reasonable. Maybe I'll take my strip and eyeball it. You just want to make sure it looks good. You don't want to have your strips crooked, because that's no fun. Once I know where my strips are going to go, now I need to prep the surface. Now this is something that most people forego when it comes to LED strips, and it's going to come and bite you in the butt later. As is, you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle with adhesives on a kayak. Kayaks are made of polyethylene. Polyethylene and adhesives don't work really well together. So you're going to need as much encouragement as possible. So what I like to do to start off is I like cleaning the surface. Now you can use a lot of things for this. In this case today I'll just be using a little bit of Windex. You don't need to go crazy. We're just going to give the kayak a little bit of a spray here. And we're going to begin to just wipe the kayak down. What you're looking to do here is you're looking to get rid of anything that might be on the kayak. This could be anything from, if you've taken your kayak out in the past, it could be salt, it could be dirt, it could be just impurities from the manufacturing process. All of that is going to collect on the adhesive strip and cause the strip to not stick. You're not going to want that. So what you're going to do here is you're going to give it a good wipe down. And then what I like to do once that's done is I like to grab my heat gun here. And I like to just put it on low. And I'm just going to quickly go around here. What I'm doing is I'm heating the surface to dry away anything that might be left. Once again, if the surface is too wet, the adhesive will not stick. So I'm going to give it a little wet. There we go. And you can see it's nice and dry. Now the next step is a chemical that some of you have probably never heard of. It's called adhesion promoter. I'm using Bulldog brand. 3M also makes some. Doesn't really matter. Now what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to spray this on after you've heated up the surface. And we're going to do that here in a second. The reason that you want to use this is this acts almost like a second layer of glue. If you use sort of a weaker adhesive, this is really going to help it stick. Now with that being said, this isn't a replacement for good adhesive. You always want to make sure you're using a good quality adhesive. Specifically, I recommend 3M VHB, which is what's used on these strips. So I'm going to start off here. I'm going to put my heat gun on high. And then we're going to begin by heating the surface. Now you don't want to overheat the surface because you'll melt the plastic, which is no good. But you definitely want to get it nice and warm to the touch. All adhesives like heat. You can actually find that information online. You find what specific temperature your adhesives like. But for our purposes, we just need to know that heat is a good thing. So we're going to begin to heat the surface up. And in addition to heating the plastic, this is driving away any moisture that might be left, which is a big thing. All right, now that this is nice and warm, and you can feel it's just warm to the touch, not burning, but warm. You're gonna take your adhesion promoter and you're just gonna spray it on. You're gonna spray a little bit of a coating. You don't need to go crazy, but it definitely needs to be on there. You're gonna give it a second just to tack up. And while you're doing that, you're gonna get the LED strip here, and we're just gonna pull the backing off, like it's a sticker. And you're gonna start by setting one corner at your first dot, and your second corner, the second dot. And we're gonna give it a nice push down, like so. Now, in the case of these Yak Light strips, it might actually benefit you, especially if you have a very curvy kayak, to actually bend the strip a little bit. The aluminum obviously has memory, so you can bend it to conform to the shape of the kayak, and that's going to allow the strip to really want to stick to the surface. We're going to keep giving it some pressure, so it's nice and strong, until we're comfortable. And we're going to take a step back and make sure that everything is centered like we want it, which in this case it is. And once that's done, we're just going to need to run the wire, and we're going to need to run the last screw. So for the wire, what I like to do is I take an 11/64 drill bit, and we're just going to pull the wire out of our way, kind of center our hole here as close to the wire as we can. And we're just going to drill in. You want to be careful if you use my method not to nick the wire, because that will actually damage the insulation. It could potentially damage your LED strip. And what we're going to do is we're going to get inside of the kayak here, and we're just going to take our wire and we're going to feed it in to the hole we just drilled, like so. And we're going to want to make sure it's nice and taut, like so. So now we have that nice and clean, and we can put this wire out of our way. So now our wire is run. The final step is going to be running the screw. This is included with your Yak Light strips. It's just a small wood screw that you're going to drill right into the plastic through the hole. Okay, and you can see here, this is the screw we'll be using. This is included with your Yak Light strip, as previously mentioned. And all you're going to do is you're going to take it with your drill, and you're going to put it right in the center of the hole here, and you're just going to drill it right into the plastic. And what that's doing is it's holding this edge of the strip down, and your wire will be holding the other side of the strip down. So even if the adhesive starts to loosen over time, it's going to be very unlikely for this strip to fall off. And we're going to proceed to do this on the other side off camera, and then we're going to meet you on the back side. Okay, so now we're on the rear of the boat, and very similar to what we did in the front, we're going to replicate it again here on the back. So in this time, we're going to use the smaller strips in the kit. These are about, if I remember correctly, they're about 8 inches long. So we're going to start down here, and similar to on the front of the boat, we're going to start with a reference point. In this case, I like to use this little protrusion right here, and I line myself up. And as you can see here, I've already made a little mark to make my life easier. And you can see, look here, those are lined up with one another. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tape measure, and I'm going to start by measuring what this is. And just like in the front, conveniently, it's the same distance, about 2 1/4. So we're going to mark it here at about 1 1/8. That's our halfway point there. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to take my strip again, and I'm just going to line up the edge of the strip with the edge of the mark. And I'm going to find roughly where the other end of the mark was going to be. In this case, it looks like it's going to be right about here. And I'm just going to take my tape measure again, measure down. In this case, it's about 2 inches, so 1 inch. It'll be right about there. Now we have our 2 marks as to where the strip's going to go. I'm just going to double check it here. You can see it's going to look kind of sort of like this. And I think that looks quite good. So now we're gonna do the exact same process as we did up on the front here. So what we're gonna do, or once again, gonna take a little bit of paper towel. We're gonna clean the surface. Give it a good wipe down. Ideally not have the LED strip in our way. All right, like so. Once that's good, we're gonna drive away moisture and heat up the surface. Just like that. Once that's ready to go, I'm gonna hit it with our adhesion promoter. Now a little tidbit with adhesion promoter, by the way, is it will pull off Sharpie marks, so just be wary of that. All right, I'll let that get tacky for a second while we peel the strip and get it ready to go. And just like before, we're gonna set the edge to one corner and the other edge to the other corner. And we're gonna give it a little push, a little bit of pressure. Make sure it's nice and stuck down. We don't want it going anywhere. And there we go. So that should be all set. The final steps, of course, just like before, we're gonna take our drill bit and we're just gonna peel this back, drill a hole. Once again, making sure the cable is out of our way. Now in the case of the Predator, there is no rear hatch, so you do have to be, you gotta get a little bit of a reach into the middle hatch, which we'll do off camera, just to get to this wire. But I can show myself feeding it. There we go. We're just gonna wanna make sure it's nice and taut all the way in. Like so. So you can see the wire is nice and where it should be. Then we're gonna take our screw once again, and we're just going to tighten it in right on this edge. And now, as you can see, the LED strip is nice and mounted, and all we need to do is replicate it on the other side. Okay, so now that we have both the front and the rear strips adhered, now we get to the fun part, the inside strips. So, as you can see here, I've taken off the mounting plate, this guy right here, and I've taken off the net as well, just so you guys can have a nice easy shot in here, and it's gonna make my life a little bit easier in the future. So we're gonna be using these little strips here. These are about 2 3/4 inches with about 3 diodes on them. Really nice bright strips. These ones are actually white, and you'll see that later. And we're going to mount these in here using the same exact method as we used before, but we're gonna mount them right about here. I'm using this as a reference, so it doesn't mean they're gonna probably be a little bit asymmetrical, but that's okay. We want to make sure that we're not using this as a reference, instead using this, because we want space for our screw to go in. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to end up with it bent down like this, trying to put in a screw at an angle, and that's no good. So we want to make sure that we're in the center of this plate, right about here, and we want to make sure we have plenty of room there to put the screw in. There we go. Now our internal light is nice and set up. Looks great. And now do the other one off camera. Okay, so for the next part of this install, we're going to be using this little kit here. Now I did a quick little mention of this earlier in the segment, but I will show it off in a bit more detail. This is going to allow us to wire all of these lights and in a way that's going to make a lot of sense. Now, I know all of you are going to look at this pigtail and go run away screaming. Don't worry, it's not as intimidating as it looks. So the big things that you're going to need to know on here is that there's 2 big wires. This red one and this black one right here. And what these are is your main power wires, and you're going to see us wire these up later. And these are going to provide power to the unit and to every single one of the LED strips. So this needs to be wired directly to your battery. As for all the rest of these wires, these are for all of the different circuits across the entire boat. So every single gray wire that you see here is just a common ground. You can wire this to any one of the grounds on any one of the circuits, and it's going to do the exact same thing. The big difference is all the other colored wires. So there's a pink one, there's a green one, there's a blue one, and there's a brown one right here. Each one of these corresponds to a different channel on the controller, as you can see here, A, B, C, and D. And inside the kit, there's actually a diagram telling you which color goes to which channel. So what you would do to make a circuit is you'd wire all your LEDs to one of these for power and one of these for ground, and that corresponding channel would turn the lights on when you push the button.
All right, thanks for following along. You have seen the full electrical wiring that Paul did here. I'm sure it's a great job. Everything's gonna go as planned, but nonetheless, we still gotta check. So we got a nice dark spot here, and here goes the white light. Excellent, we're good. Now the big time blue light. Ready? Drum roll.
There we go.
Excellent, this looks awesome.
I love it.
All right, as you can see, it is fully loaded. We've got all the accessories. We've got the Yak Lights hooked up. We've got the Humminbird fish finder. We've got just about everything I could possibly want from Yak Attack. We've got the anchor trolley. We've got all of the rod holders, the box, the crate, the nets. Really, the only thing we've got left is to splash this boat.
Oh, hell yeah. Come on.
I am psyched to get it out on the water. Stay tuned, obviously, we're going to have more content coming to you. We've got this whole rigging process. Of course, if you want to go get your kayak tricked out like this, do not hesitate to call Paul. The other guys here at Black Hall Outfitters have got 2 great shops. We're here in Old Lyme. They've also got one over in Westbrook. Handle any of your needs, from the accessories to the boats to all of this. So I want to say thanks again to all the sponsors of this video series. Thanks to you for watching it. So I have waited around long enough. I am ready to go splash this.
I'm ready to see you out there.
Thank you very much. We'll see you out on the water.